Ah. Face my cock swab.
Whoa, what?
What? Cock swab.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory, where it's another day, another
I
FNAF
thought
episode.
zombies
That's
were
right,
easy to
even though we
kill.
might have just squeezed
Thought they didn't
security
take, like,
breach
3
dry
hits.
theories, it doesn't mean that the FNAF train is slowing down anytime soon. Case in point, Felix the Shark, the surprise
Die,
bonus book in the
please!
Fazbear
Let me
Fright series.
please!
Yep,
I
your
want to
eyes don't deceive
live!
you, that is an animatronic shark on the
Bam!
cover. Go figure, I make a joke about it, and now somehow I've manifested it into being. The only thing that would make this more sharky would be if it suddenly introduced a shark animatronic. They haven't done that yet, right? Right? Huh, okay, well, there's still time. Anyway, although it's slated for release in April, an audio version of the book leaked early, allowing us to see what's inside of this thing. And let me tell you, while all the other books in the series have hinted at lore, this one just spells it out
Go
for
through that
you.
fire.
Stop! What are you doing?
Talking about FNAF, like I always do. It's been almost 2 weeks. I feel like I'm going through withdrawals.
Well, I
Okay, I
am
got you.
the Theory Lord, and I command
If I
You know, with a name like
carefully-
Theory Lord, it seems kind of off-brand to tell me to stop making an episode.
silence! Talk about something else. Seriously, there are so many things that you can cover.
Like what? Elden Ring would
Yeah.
be cool, but if your name isn't Vati Vidya, you're gonna get
Wait, I can get the
flamed.
bomber to activate, I think.
There's a new Kirby game.
You'd think, right? But Kirby fans, they're surprisingly aggressive.
What about him? Over
Yes,
there?
sir!
I would point him out to you, but I'm just a floating head,
Clutch.
so let me just nod in his general direction. That guy. Over there. That one.
Courage the Cowardly Dog? Did he even have a game? Shouldn't that be over on Film Theater?
Talk about him now or face the consequences. Theory Lord has spoken.
I tried to
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Game Theory. Today we're talking about the absolute
I could've-
classic
I
animated
could've
series,
swore that, like,
Courage
if
the
I just
Cowardly
kinda,
Dog.
like,
This thing was
I could, like,
pure
jump
nightmare
out.
fuel bottled up and IV directly into kids'
there's a runner
eyeballs
over
back in the
there.
late 90s.
Now, I want you to
Yeah.
open your mouth and say, ah.
man.
If you aren't familiar with it, the show is about an elderly
They're coming in
couple,
from the left,
Sweet
the left, the
Muriel
left.
and Grumpy Eustace, who
We've
live
got both
near the
of them.
fictional town of Nowhere, Kansas, with their easily frightened dog,
Alright, just
Courage.
get to the
Every
platform,
episode,
get
the
to the
three would end up
platform, bro.
encountering
Get
all
to the
sorts of horrors,
platform.
ranging from spirits, aliens,
Oh
monsters,
my
even
God!
terrifying relatives.
This is
Hello,
not.
was I with tender courage, and all
Get
his
that bomber.
fur is
Yeah, we got the bomber activated.
which
Let's go,
I
let's go, we
say
got
did
bomber.
encourage me to be quite
Oh shit, run,
naughty.
run. Oh god.
Courage.
Honestly, if you've never had a chance to check this
Bye.
one out, I highly recommend it. There's a reason
I'm
it
over
holds the
here.
record for the highest rated premiere on Cartoon Network. And even though it ended years ago, it's still kicking around. It got a Scooby-Doo crossover movie last year,
Okay, we
which
got
at
bomber
first I'm like,
activated.
"What? Why?" But when you think about it, it actually makes sense. I will say it's been neutered a lot, not nearly as terrifying as the original Courage series, but, you know, it's passable for a character that I
Alright,
haven't seen in a
below
while.
attack
Anyway,
my beloved.
why am I talking about it here on Game Theory? Well, last year, a game designer named Nathan Gabriel went online to claim that he had found an old hard drive at a yard sale containing the only known copy of a Courage
Huh?
game for the PS1, a game that went unfinished and unreleased. Ladies and gentlemen, we
Me,
got
I'm not
ourselves the
one-shotting.
classic creepypasta story. Boy goes to yard sale, boy finds haunted
You
games.
just missed, like, 2
scares
times.
ensue. Rather than
Whoa,
release 24
the
Let's
hitbox
Plays
says,
here on
look,
YouTube, Nathan and his
right
partner
here.
Chico Games decided to pull together the assets
It
they
hit the
found and put it
wall.
all on itch.io for everyone to
Bro.
experience. But
Oh
before
my
even hopping into
God.
the game, I did
No,
some
the
research.
hitbox hit
Even
the
though
wall,
Courage seemed like the perfect cartoon to
Bro,
turn into
we
a
ain't
video
not
game
making
back
it
when
to
every
Old Guard.
successful
We are
show
not
had its
making
tie-in, Courage only ever got a few browser games. No official standalone title was ever planned. So, with my theorist senses tingling, I decided to give it a go on GT Live.
I don't buy that for a second.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say, if it's on itch.io, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I have a feeling that
Oh, I
this
think
is
there's some
something
behind us.
more than
Behind
what
us,
it
behind us.
seems.
And boy, was I right on the money.
Well,
Constant crashes,
I got
haunting
you.
imagery,
No,
and a
never mind. I do
soundtrack
not
that
got
screamed,
you, bro.
"Put me through a spectrogram." So you know what
There's,
time
like,
it is,
one runner
theorists.
left.
Time to break out Photoshop
And I
and our
cannot
base
see them.
64
I cannot see
decoders.
them.
We've got ourselves a scary ARG to solve. This game
goodbye.
isn't telling us.
Wait, can I
There's a
respawn?
hidden story inside the code, and we're about to find
Bam,
it.
got
The
it.
only thing I wonder is whether we can survive
there any more left?
to tell the tale.
No, that's it.
We chillin'.
Firing up the game, we take control of Courage wandering around the bag house, and that's basically it. Not a
Bro,
lot
I gotta
to
play
interact
this
with other than
safe.
two
I ain't
questions that
taking no risks.
basically do nothing. However, after exploring the second floor, when you go back downstairs, the living room is bathed in red.
Uh-oh. things are getting creepy up in Courage's house.
Going back upstairs, you get your
See if I
first
can
jump
go.
scare.
Oh, hey.
This terrifying face, which it's worth noting isn't actually just a jump scare, it's from the show. This is the spirit of the Harvest Moon from the episode The House of Discontent.
Because you don't respect your land.
Where's the majority of them?
Coffee, why did you screenshot my...
Oh my. Okay.
That was hilarious.
Told you this show was pure nightmare fuel. The game is only mildly more upsetting than what they decided to give to kids on TV. The giant floating head tells us to find them, while 3 paws circle the
A runner
screen.
just
Now, I know
spawned?
it's a Courage game, but this moment's really giving me some solid Blue's Clues flashbacks.
Oh,
So,
fuck it.
finally,
Y'all ain't
armed with
surviving.
the mission, we go explore the house again, only to suddenly be teleported onto a carpet made of rotting flesh. You know, the usual
are you in
for the
a
games that we
Ghost of
cover
Black
here.
Matter
If it doesn't have a decaying carcass texture, ain't nobody got time for that. At the center of the area are 16 red chairs with an odd-looking pentagram symbol in the middle. If you look close enough, you can see that the line is actually meant to map out a path. Following it and clicking on each chair as you go triggers a sound that, you know, would be great if you knew what it did.
What?
After mashing my body against every wall that I could find, because what
I just
else
heard a
do you do
bomber
when you're stuck in an indie horror game, I found a spot that I could phase through. I realized after the fact that there were also birds chirping to hint that it was
Wait,
there,
where's
but
the
of
rest of
course
them?
I had to
Could've
do it the
sworn there
hard
were like a
way. And
million.
on the other side of that wall
Bam.
was
Follow up right
nothing but another question mark that didn't do anything. At a
Okay,
loss, I did the only thing that I could think of.
Okay,
Alright,
got
let's go,
another
go,
question
go,
mark.
go, go, go,
What if
go,
I
go.
jump off?
Run away.
You know, if
You
you get
crashed the
you
game.
get,
Fantastic.
Turns out
they
it wasn't a
can't
bad
grab
decision.
you.
When you relaunch the game, all the furniture in the living room
What?
is gone, and we
If,
get
like,
treated to a music track that
If you hit them
absolutely
before they grab you, they
slaps.
can't hit
Oh,
you
this
at
is
all.
really well.
Basically, if you know how to, you can sweep in between.
Oh, this is definitely Morse
the
code.
songs.
Obviously, the music bed is a code.
Yeah, I
Morse
don't know
code,
how
to be
to do
precise,
that
which
kind
at
of
the time of filming I couldn't
Just
look
use,
into, but
like,
afterwards I was able to translate to learn the way of the old wind. Old wind
Like
isn't
Flash?
a reference to the show as far
Like,
as I can tell,
Flash?
but it does
Y'all
seem to
gonna
be important,
die.
considering that it's a phrase that gets repeated throughout this ARG. Look back at the itch.io page for the game. Perfect grammar in all the game's descriptions except for 2 randomly capitalized words in the middle of the sentence.
Y'all are dead.
Old and wind.
Mom, it's wind. Well, I've only read it in books.
However, to understand what it means, we have to keep digging.
Stop.
By heading upstairs and then back down, you'll find that the bag's grandfather clock has moved to the center of the room.
Oh my
If you
God.
let it chime 12 times, the game crashes. Again. And this time you have to restart from the
Alright,
beginning,
time to
which
check
is
some
definitely what
stuff.
happened to me the first time. But if before the 12th chime you head to the kitchen, you get a data missing screen. Now, this is important, because when you first boot up the game, we're told that there are, quote, at least 3 levels connected to completely
that.
broken
Oh my God,
sections.
black
We couldn't
powder.
find how to access
Si,
them, but we were able to
senor.
put data missing screens on them. So
one
we
more
just
wave and
found
I'll
the
join
first
you
of these
for no
screens,
reason.
but so what? It's blank. It doesn't tell us anything. Or does
In a minute,
it?
I'm gonna
Just important to
leave
know that
and
when
play-
an ARG presents us with a black
Yeah.
screen, it's photo.
Play what?
time.
You
By
guys
messing
are-
around with
I'm
the
gonna get that
brightness and
Viper
contrast
strat, bro.
levels, we
You
find
gotta
get
a
that
message
strat.
within
Yeah.
the black void.
What you
that
finna go
says,
play?
Father wasn't home.
I'm gonna play for a
Doesn't tell
phobia
us
in a
whole
minute.
lot, but there are still at least 2
Can I join you?
fine, so hopefully this will paint a clearer picture for us. After getting that screen,
Can I-
we delete the save
just a
file
second.
and go back to the start. So we do it all again. Click the question
Yo.
marks, talk to the creepy moon face
Bro,
guy,
it's
go
the
outside,
Viper
follow
strat.
the
I don't
picture,
know what to tell you.
slam my body against all
Bro,
the
it's
walls,
the-
find the
it's
hidden
Viper
ledge, and
strat.
click on the question mark
You
out
was
there.
hidden,
But this
fuck.
time, we don't leap to an untimely and premature
My
end.
bad.
This time, we go back into the main section
Bro,
of the
you're
game,
gonna die.
and we're rewarded for that big brain move with this.
Wait, was this here last time? Oh no! Wait, oh no! Muriel! Muriel's dead!
It's a funeral memorial for Muriel.
Oh,
Naturally, you click on it and it crashes. Eat your heart out, Cyberpunk. But don't worry, in this game, it's a feature and not a bug. This time, when you restart the game, you're dropped into a pitch black room. So, as you might imagine, I took my time and thought carefully about my next move.
Okay. Oh, hello.
You know, life is all about failing up. Trying again and looking closer, I was able to identify based on the textures that there was an invisible path.
You'll notice that the texture here is different. Watch, I bet if I walk on this. Yep.
Alright, what
There's an
map?
invisible path to get to that chair.
But with it
Saint
being invisible, there
Sebastian?
was
Oh my
really
God. Saint
no way to
Sebastian.
move forward.
Saint
Or
Sebastian
was
nightmare.
there? You see, if you actually pay close attention to the music in this section, you'll hear some deep,
Bro,
creepy
they are
tones
not
with a
giving
high-pitched
me
hit. It was enough to
access
set
to
off
the
my
entirety
eerie
of the
senses
Gustin
yet
Black
again.
Thunder server.
Grandfather clocks.
What the hell?
as
Hey,
well as
oh,
that
yeah.
sound, are very reminiscent of like the sounds that you would hear if you put something visually into a spectrograph,
Wait, is this your
or
fault?
if we were to do it, the audio file in some way would give us something back.
And I was
Alright, where
right,
are you?
tossing this
Where's Reese?
audio into a
There you
spectrogram
are.
gives you something
Look at
that
this
looks
man,
a lot
he's
like
all the
math.
way in the
Gotta give it to
back.
puzzle makers, it's an
Go
awesome
help your
clue
team,
if
bro.
it
Go help your
actually worked.
team.
I tried really hard to
You're
do this
deafened.
level legitimately, but I just couldn't. Without any sort of landmark to tell how far you've gone, it's really
Oh, that's right, he's
difficult
trying
to
to the mic
estimate
thing.
exactly where you need to turn and stop. Luckily, there's actually a far easier solution to this, and that's messing with your computer's rendering settings. Twitch streamer The Beard Dude had the idea to use a program called Reshade, which made the path visible and possible to navigate. It's also worth pointing out that while I was installing Reshade, I noticed a text document among the game's files that read, "She followed the rules, he broke the rules, the OW was all the way to the right," with the words being censored there. Thanks to the Morse code from earlier, though, I think we have a pretty good idea of what that's trying to say.
Where's
The OW is obviously the old wind, but what is it saying about being all the way to the
Culpa.
right? Well, going back to our invisible maze, we actually get a choice in our path, going
He's
left
not dead.
or right. So, to learn the ways of the old wind, I started by heading right. At the end of the path, you're teleported to a dark corridor with a house. Behind the house, you find a second memorial picture, this time featuring a man named Robert W., half burnt and without any of the decorations that we saw around Muriel's. Clicking on it will, surprise, surprise, crash the game. This time when we reload, we're back in the
Right,
bag's
right,
house.
he's going,
only
he's
now
going.
it's dark and
Wait, what
eerily
class
quiet.
is bro?
However,
What-
things take a
what-
turn
what
when
is
you go
bro's
upstairs.
class?
Suddenly the game locks you into place and we're forced to confront Robert W.
Wait,
His
did he get-
realistic face stapled
Oh
onto a
my
display
God, he
product
got
that
left
slowly
behind.
floats
Oh my
towards
God, he
us
got
with a
left
digital
behind.
whale. Thanks! I hate it, but what I don't hate is that it gives us our second data missing screen. Adjusting the brightness and contrast of the screen reveals the phrase, "Mr. Wheeler was there to greet me." So our
Reese's
storyteller's
fucking
father wasn't
dead.
home. Instead,
Oh
he was met by a
my
Mr.
God.
Wheeler. Considering that this floating entity is Robert W., it's not much of a leap to assume that the W stands for Wheeler. But to absolutely confirm, I went to match the fonts. Times New Roman, wasn't too hard. And sure enough, it turns out that Wheeler is a perfect fit for the rest of that burned image. It's also worth noting
do
that
I
the
get to
asset name for the
respawn?
horrifying creature is Real Wheeler. Seems pretty confirmed. Robert is Mr. Wheeler, but what are we trying to say about him? Well, there's still at least one more data missing page to find, and hopefully that'll start giving us some answers. Last time we went right, so this time at the Spotlight Maze, we're actually going to go to the left, away from the old wind. After a long walk, we make our way to a single chair. Clicking on the chair does what you'd expect at this point, crashes the game, and we end up back in the bag house. This time, though, it's full of coins. Notice that the pattern on the coins actually matches the earlier chair puzzle. As you collect the coins, a player 2 slides onto the screen, which would be weird enough considering it's a single-player game, but things get real uncomfortable when you realize it's Muriel.
your ass up
You know
front.
that dead woman whose memorial we paid respects to earlier? Yeah, no biggie. Collecting all the coins causes Muriel's face to go dark. The music stops, and we get our final data missing screen. Contrast down, exposure up. It reads, "It was her, Eleanor. Father wasn't home. Mr. Wheeler was there to greet me. It was her, Eleanor." Okay, so we found all our data missing screens, but what's it all mean? Well, based on the evidence we've collected so far, I think I've got a decent idea of what this story's about. Our story has 5 people: Eleanor, Mr. Wheeler, Father, Muriel, and us, the storyteller, who is clearly the son of Father. We know that we call out the fact that Father wasn't home, which to me suggests that Father probably should have been home. His absence was unexpected, leaving us to ask the question of why. Why wasn't he there? Mr. Wheeler was there to greet me.
Now!
Mr. Wheeler wasn't part of or close enough to the family to be on a first-name basis with our storyteller, like maybe a neighbor or coworker or some other trusted
Hurry your
friend.
ass
The
up,
phrase,
shoot
"It was her,
something!"
Eleanor implies that Eleanor was closer to the family than Mr. Wheeler, hence why she's referred to on a first-name basis. She's also not the mother of our storyteller, as most children would call their mother just mom, just like Father was called Father. All of this would suggest that Eleanor was maybe a neighbor or a stepmother or a sister, but that's
Shoot
not
the
all we're
wall!
working with. Each time we rebooted the game to start down a different path, we were forced to delete the save file. This, to me, felt like it could hide a clue, like we were intentionally being led to those specific files. Why else would you force players to do that without giving us some sort of a payoff? And sure enough, when opening up the save files in Notepad, we find plain text phrases like, "I don't" or "was good." I tried to collect as many of these as possible, but to confirm that I hadn't missed anything, we extracted the plain text that the game looks for within the files to get this. Do you remember a time when the world was good and fair? I don't. Manually changing the phrases inside the save files would allow us to load different parts of the game, so I went back and did it with each of the phrase chunks. Only the phrase "do you" loaded a part of the game that we hadn't previously found. A gray version of the bag's home with nothing to do except endlessly interact with your computer. I feel seen, creepy energy game. I feel seen. Anyway, the game's assets have a few more clues hiding in plain sight. There's a file called Old Wind, which it turns out is the symbol that we saw under the chairs and on the coins. So the Old Wind is the symbol. Interesting.
The dead
There's
man.
also a file
It's
named
Jover
Eleanor,
for
which is worth
them.
calling out because Eleanor
No
is the
Cumber
image
Rock
that
for
we see
them.
in the memorial, but one that was attributed to Muriel. Makes it seem
Don't
like
worry,
maybe the
guys,
two
it's not
are actually
Napoleon
one and the
over
same,
yet.
bringing
It's
our
not
character
Napoleon
count down
over.
to 4. Father, Mr. Wheeler, us, and Eleanor/Muriel. So taking all of our evidence into account, we might be able to explain why Father wasn't home.
Bro,
It was her,
he's
Eleanor.
dead
Considering we see her
again!
memorial in the game, it implies that Dad had to leave to see her in her final moments before she dies. Do you remember a time when the world was good and fair? I don't. Certainly sounds like the sort of question someone would ask in the wake of a tragic, unexpected death. But it still feels like something's missing, right? Like, why are traces of all of this left in the game, and what does any of this have to do with the seemingly important phrase "Old Wind" that keeps getting repeated? Well, remember that text file from earlier? She followed the rules, he broke the rules, the Old Wind was all the way to the right. Wind in the Courage the Cowardly Dog show tends to be linked with the passage of time or death in some way. The episode Little Muriel, for instance, involves a tornado that sucks up Muriel and turns her back into a child, and Courage has to find a tornado that spins the other way to age her back up.
I'm Muriel. I'm only 3.5 years old. Who are you?
Another episode titled Windmill Vandals has a windmill that
Bro,
stops things
who's shooting
rising
the
from death.
bombers?
The Old Wind, I suspect, operates similar to these. It's a wind that makes you grow either younger or older. Eleanor followed the rules. Well, by dying, she followed the rules of nature. But upon seeing this, Robert Wheeler begins to realize his own mortality and looks for ways to become immortal, breaking the rules of nature and refusing to die by being involved in some sort
Don't
of
worry,
ritual
guys,
or
Cumber
cult.
Rock.
I mean,
It's
look at
not
that
Jover
symbol
yet.
and tell me there
It's
isn't
not
something
Jover.
cultish about that. The lack of memorial when we find
Yes.
Robert's burned picture.
Don't
seems
worry,
to suggest
guys,
that
it
he's
is
dead.
not
It's actually
Jover.
backed up by
It
the
is
game's
not
Itch.io
Napoleon
page. On the
over.
day the page was created,
Cumber
there
Rock.
was also a user profile created, R. Wheeler 1998. And for now, that's as much as I can piece together about the Courage game. A PS1 era game riffing on mascot-themed platformers back in the day that hides a family tragedy under the surface. Maybe having to do with the death or cult rituals attempting to be immortal. And you see, this is why Courage was such a clever choice for the game. The occult demons, Courage has faced them all. Much like the windmills in the show, which stop the dead from rising, the Old Wind will ultimately be our key to stopping the immortal
Ooh, I'm
monster
juking
that
him,
tries
I'm
to cheat
juking him.
death. And
Ooh.
there does seem like there will be more added to this story, as Nathan, the guy who quote-unquote found the game, tweeted that he's been able to locate another mysterious hard drive. In the meantime, if this
Smite it,
obviously necessary, plenty of evidence here in the story, but as a wide share of
Bro, I'm about to die because of not playing music. Bro, I'm gonna stay back. He's dead right now.
And that includes avoiding male pattern baldness with our sponsor for today's episode, Keeps. Do you know that
I'm
male
trying the
pattern
hardest I can to help without dying.
Eustace certainly does.
No.
You, sir, are extremely bald.
Don't worry, it is not Jover. No Jover.
In fact, the whole Bag family is pretty
Cumber
sensitive
Rock,
about their
Cumber
lack of
Rock.
hair follicles. Too bad they didn't have Keeps back in 1996, or they could have avoided
Legit,
all
we
that.
are
You see,
almost at the
Keeps
checkpoint,
is dedicated
guys. We
to
got
helping
this. We
combat
got it,
the
we got it,
symptoms
we
of
got it.
hair loss. Most customers
Ooh,
notice
I don't like
results
that, I
within the
don't
first
like
6
that, I
months.
don't-
And it's not like they're using some kind of old wind pseudoscience. Their formula...
Just reload. Reload your guns, please. Reload your shit. Hang on, I gotta do something real quick. Oh yeah, that was good.
What the fuck?
La 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 la. Man, I don't like that.
You hear that? I gotta put up with this type of shit every single night. To be honest, I don't think I can do it. I think
Dude,
I can go
I'm
sleep in
scared.
my
I
car.
don't like this. This is scary.
I think I'm
really
gonna go sleep in
scary.
my
I don't-
car.
I don't
They
like
slapping
this
the
at
back
all.
of a basketball that don't even have a.
Bro, just shoot it. Just shoot the zombies.
I'll call you back. I'm gonna call you right back. Ain't work. first you take the 30-second diagnostic quiz, all right? That right there alone gonna tell geology everything they need to know about your skin and how to help it improve. It's gonna help you reduce dark and puffy
Just try to kill the
eyes.
most
It's gonna
you
help
can,
you fight
then brush.
acne and keep your oily skin under control. And most importantly, it's gonna help protect your skin, all right?
I ain't
Help
going
reduce
down.
those fine
I'm not
lines
going
and
down there, bro.
Hey, and look, you can even start with a trial set, bro. The 30-day trial comes with 2 everyday face wash, morning and night cream, and it even come with nourishing eye cream, bro. You just can't beat it. Hey, it come with 2 of these, so you can leave 1 in the shower and 1 at the sink, so you don't gotta just keep going back and forth. You know what I'm saying? And look, y'all been asking me, bro, do what you using on your skin, do what you using on face, bro. I've been telling y'all the whole time. Geology, bro. No cap. And look, whole time, I ain't even told y'all the best part, but if you order right now, you can get 70% off.
Yeah, still alive.
70% off.
Got some black powder.
I ain't gonna lie. Hey, look, I was on the side, bro. Have I ever steered y'all in the wrong direction? No, I haven't.
Is it a private server?
No.
To me, bro. Hey, look, all you gotta do is use code 2021.
You're on a server full of retards.
CM70.
Servers
Get
full?
your 70%
Again?
off. So make sure you click the link in the description right now, today, and go crazy, man. But hey, look, with that being said, man, shout out to Geology for sponsoring today's video, and let's get right back into it, bro. I ain't gonna lie, bro. I can't even do it, bro. I had to put on my red Nike Tech. It's gonna be a long ass. It's cold too, so it is what it is. But I'm finna let my seats down so I can make a bed in my Jeep.
Bro, I'm on such low health.
Yeah.
You need your skill issue.
Do some like this for my
Bro, it ain't no goddamn skill issue.
Hey, one thing for sure, 2 things for certain. I'm finna have this rocket in here, you know what I mean?
I would like to partake in a PvP and got some black powder.
Boom, right?
3 nights versus 3 nights.
I'm not doing night tonight.
Alright. Damn, I might need to call somebody over. Y'all think somebody
Okay, then.
come over like
3 chaplain
we'll see. I gotta put
versus
some pillows in here though. Alright, so
What?
right now I got the comforter
No!
with the
Why did they shoot a
nice
bomb?
comfy brown Ugg blanket. Hey, fellas, I ain't gonna cap y'all. I need to go get y'all one of them blankets. I also got the 2 pillows. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna sleep real good off of this motherfucker. Hey, so look, right now, right?
I fucking
I
can't.
got the
People
nice
keep
comforter.
shooting bombs when I'm next to them.
Nice brown pillows too now. You know what I'm saying? Check me out, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Now they making too much noise and shit. Like, I ain't gonna lie, it comfortable as hell. You might well
I'm trying to figure out
pull
the
up.
OBS.
If you ain't sleepy, if you ain't too
Why
sleepy,
you rage quit, bro?
like playing basketball.
Why you leave that server?
You hear me?
Because
You know what Jeeps is made for?
Really nice
people keep
Jeep.
shooting the bombers
the type of
when I'm
super, I ain't
right
no, like-
next to
I kinda like-
them.
Well, I'm going to join your server.
You know what I'm saying? So she ended up
I already
leaving.
left.
But man, my Jeep comfortable, bro. Look, bro. Like
You join another one.
last night, I wasn't even able to record what was going on, but basically,
Don't play with
old
public
girl, she
server
ended up
people.
leaving, bro.
They are
'cause
very
she
dumb
said her
and
back
stupid.
was hurting and she was uncomfortable. And you ain't even finna sit here and play my Jeep like that. So you can.
Stream information. Oh fuck. I don't know what this is.
It was very important in the video. Oh, I sound British.
Oh. Oh.
A portion of this episode is sponsored by Google.
Maybe I will host a Guns and Black Powder server.
Nobody joining that bullshit.
Promise, no bullshit.
I ranked that video.
It's like I'm trying to do no bullshit, but no bullshit. But then people are just like, give me calls, give me calls, give me that.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film
Two game.
Theory, where I wish I had a Shadow Man feed me when lights go off. What is this thing? Oh, you're a horrific monster.
Hello?
One second,
No?
maybe not. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back.
I gotta work tomorrow.
Files. For those of you who don't remember, the Walton Files is the animal.
Nah, I changed it because, you know,
walls.
I ain't feel like going to work today. He was like, I asked him though, could I come in early? He was like, I can come in. Well, he said I could come in as soon as I wake up if I want to.
Apologies, headphone users. It's a story about
But we're gonna go look at that car in there and I'm gonna jump in, go to the work.
Restaurant chain founded by business partners Jack Walton and Felix Crankin.
Yeah.
For the first two installments of the series, we learned
Alright.
that these two men had a falling out and that Bonds had been forced to close shortly after its opening due to some mysterious event called the Incident
I
of
love you.
1974. Honestly, though, it feels more accurate to call this the Incidents of 1974, considering that this is the year of Jack's disappearance, his wife Rosemary's untimely death and stuffing into Shaw the sheep, and another woman named Susan Woodings winding up inside Banny the bunny. I mean, it was a busy year for the franchise. After the closure due to the Incidents of 1974, the animatronics were relocated out into the woods, where they proceeded to take the lives of a few more victims as they lay in wait for the return of the mysterious character named Sophie, a former caretaker of the Bonds Burgers facility that we briefly saw in the very first episode of the series. A person that the animatronics are particularly keen on getting their hands on, as evidenced by them killing Brian Stells because he, quote, looked like her. And as of last episode, that's where we left things off. Almost. There was one final video I hinted at towards the end of that last episode, piecing together flashes of a URL left at the beginning and end of the Relocate Project upload. We're brought to an unlisted video titled Lucky You, where we see... What is this? What is this? It's a clearly laid out timeline of events?
We normally do when we're fucking up here.
I'm crying because I'm so happy. Also, watch the endoskeleton boogie down. If there was any lingering confusion about the order of this story, Lucky You is basically the teacher's answer key, and it confirms everything that we talked about last upload. However, there's still one major reveal here, the return of Sophie.
Listen to the clip even more. Feel me? Man, how many? 50.
This now pretty much marks Sophie as our main character. Remember, the first thing that we hear in episode 1 of the series is backwards text that gives us
Pick
this
the
message.
shots. Nah, I'm
Finally start to
bullshitting.
remember that old day they will look out
still
for you
24.
soon. This whole story
This
from its
bitch.
opening moments has been an
Nigga
attempt
play with
to
me,
wake up
gonna get hit with
all the
that switch,
memories
yeah.
inside Sophie's mind. And now we have a clear picture of what's going on. Sophie was once a caretaker of Bonds Burgers. She
And I
survived
use
a
protection
tragic
too.
accident,
Oh, it's all in the
a bomb
trash.
attack,
All in the
something that would
trash.
cause her memories to be locked away behind a
She
gate
was
of
on her
trauma
period, hold
and
on.
medication. So the question now is, what
Can't even
exactly
see it.
are
It's
those
in there,
memories
dude.
that need to be unlocked? For that, we finally turn to episode 3,
See? That's
Bunny
when the
Farm,
rap
the
is
last
You need to
canonical
be on
installment in the
mute or be
series and the
on.
one where we watch as Sophie's memories
shots
come
now,
flooding back. The premise for this hour-long upload is that Sophie,
Who would like to
now
partake
aged
in the
22,
gaming?
is playing
Got
through
some
the old
black
Bunny
powder.
Smiles Incorporated arcade game, Bunny Farm. Along the way, she's presented with her family's
Understandable.
tragic backstory, forced to face literal corpses, to which she responds,
But that was very confusing.
understatement of the year there, Soph. As she plays through the game, she taps into glitches and hidden files that provide us with massive war dumps. These reveals ultimately break down into 3 major chunks. The first is Susan Wooding's audio log number 3. It's worth noting we've yet to hear numbers 1 and 2. Through this file, we learn that Susan was the engineer for the animatronics, the one that essentially built them. When they're found malfunctioning on opening day, well, this happens. This tells us
Damn, I thought you was dead, gang.
malfunction after Jack's disappearance.
They ain't never call a nigga back.
Actually gets stuffed. 2, it confirms what we suspected, that she is in
I thought you was dead, gang. You ain't never call a nigga
She
back.
doesn't appear to have any family connection to the Waltons themselves. Interestingly, based on this,
I don't care. I gotta make sure you're
we
alive.
see that she's still alive inside of the
I go to work tomorrow.
Her stomach feels weird, which probably connects.
Cause my off day was supposed to be tomorrow, but I switched it for today.
That we saw happen in the
Cause I'm streaming.
And finally,
Yo, we need to get a monkey or amigo.
Susan Buzin says this.
Us. Oh damn, no, you got a girl, never mind.
Chris. Now, earlier in Bunny Farm, we see that Chris is the name for one of the save game files on the arcade camera.
I
But
bet.
the name actually comes up even earlier than that. The first time
I can't do it tonight.
I'll spend it out over this. Series where Chris is the one that
You ain't got your phone.
Ryan Stells to the
I'm
animatronic
only gonna
storage
have my
facility
phone, not
and
my
ultimately
computer.
to his death. It's hard to hear.
Oh yeah, she not going for none of that shit. She gonna beat your ass. She on
Nah. I can do it all, bro. Stop playing with me, bro.
So,
Alright, fam.
Chris be the identity of
Alright,
our
good.
Shadow Man.
Alright,
One person with
safety.
a connection to the franchise since its earliest days and has survived to tell the tale, beating the animatronics at night. It remains to be seen, but this is definitely suspect number one. The second major clue in this upload gives us the identity of yet another animatronic. This time, Buzu the Ringmaster. Bunny Farm is very explicit in showing us that a man named Charles has been stuffed inside of the suit, and that he's been missing since
714 missing wheel, 714.
5 days before the restaurant's shut down. Some scary breathing and jump scares later, we get this line. A line that's only visible via the closed captions. Remember my face. Chris and now Charles are two major news threads that we have coming out of this upload. We know that they're important to the story, but we don't quite know their role in any of this. Last is the most tragic chunk of the three, which, you know, is saying a lot considering that we just went through 2 horrific murders. Through a series of redacted diary entries, we learn how Felix's marriage to his wife Linda falls apart, and how Felix has increasingly turned toward alcohol for some reason. His problems actually date back to 1964, 10 years before any of the Bonds Burgers drama started to kick up. In fact, they don't start pitching the restaurant idea until a year later in 1965 to a company called Cyberfun Tech. So it seems like trouble was brewing in Felix's life much earlier than most Walton File theorists suspect. But it all wouldn't fall apart until a fateful phone call when Jack asks Felix to take his 2 kids, Ed and Molly, to their school dance.
I need to stay at the workshop to finish the paperwork, and Ross is taking Sophie to the dentist. We were wondering if you could pick them up for the event and take them home later. Sure, I can do that. Really? Yeah, sure. Oh, thanks for bothering you. Lifesaver, Felix.
Jack would soon find out that Felix would not, in fact, be a lifesaver. But before we get to how, you know what is a lifesaver? Our sponsor for this portion of today's episode, Google. Specifically, their password manager. Because sometimes the scariest thing after you isn't a possessed bunny animatronic looking to stuff you into a robot suit. Sometimes it's just people looking to get access to your information online. Did you know that October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month? Yeah, I didn't either, but apparently it is. And I call that out just because online security is one of those things that we all don't tend to prioritize. Sure, we lock our cars, we lock our houses, maybe get security devices and hide our keys to protect our physical stuff, but what are we really doing to protect our digital stuff? You know, the really important things like access to our bank accounts, billing information, the keys to our online identities. Well, the first 2 steps in that process are 1, having strong passwords for your accounts, and 2, not reusing those passwords. Statistically, an average person has over 27 separate accounts to keep track of. That is a lot of information. And if you reuse passwords and one of those sites has a data leak, then all your information is vulnerable as one website dominoes into the next. But if you use a different password for each one, boom, the vulnerability stops right there. And look, I get it. It's just easier if you have 1 or 2 passwords that you rotate between. 75% of people get frustrated trying to remember their passwords, and so 66% of people tend to reuse them. But that's an issue. The loyalist of theorists out there will remember a few years ago when we partnered with real-life penetration testers to get a sense of what being a hacker is like in real life. And through those conversations, we learned that cybersecurity tends to boil down to one thing.
The problem that we run into in real-world scenarios is that people depend on convenience over security.
People reuse passwords because it's convenient, even if it's not all that safe. But with Google's password manager, you get both security and convenience as Google creates unique, highly complex passwords for each of your accounts, protects them using their advanced security, and then automatically throws them back in when you need access. And because it's built into your Google account, it has the added convenience of making those passwords accessible across any device. Anyway, the reason I bring all this up is that I trust Google products to keep me secure. I mean, my entire life, and the lives of all our employees, this entire business really just depends on the security of these channels, which are literally accessed by a handful of passwords. And with Google, I feel protected, because not only are my passwords kept under their strict to lock and key, but Google also notifies me each and every time someone tries to access my account, or anytime they find one of my passwords has become vulnerable. It allows me to stay secure without having to constantly worry about staying secure. So if you're interested in learning more about how Google helps protect your information online, visit g.co/saferpasswords. Easier option, link is in the top line of the description. Thank you again to Google for keeping me safe for the last decade and for sponsoring this part of the episode. Now, back to the fictional scary stuff. As you might have predicted, Felix, with his alcohol issue, is not fit to drive that night. Via the diary entries, we learned that Linda had officially left him earlier that day, May 2nd, and after drinking more at school dance, which this was school dances back in the 70s,
Are you ready?
he was lost on the drive back home.
Yeah.
Give me a Caesar.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Jack's children, Ed, and terrified of what he's done, and
I'm tired of this.
Oh, I haven't started the server yet. I mean, yeah, I haven't. But before you start, I need to use the bathroom.
Can I show your people in Discord my gun?
I'll be right
Than I thought, and now it's like
Can I show your people in Discord my gun? I'm playing Kyler. Why would I do that?
I mean, I don't know why you would, but want to.
Wait, is Rocket just the Walton Files equivalent of Golden Freddy? Did everyone realize that Golden Freddy actually had two spirits inside of one suit before I did? What are the dates of this one? Walton Files, okay, Golden Freddy. Okay, I was ahead of it. By a little bit. And then Bunny Farm ends on that uplifting note. From here, we get one final check-in with our happy little animatronic family, a final sequence of jump scares.
You ready? I'm about to shoot my phone. 3, 2, 1.
To an intense 3-video ride of horror and tragedy. And honestly, it's a pretty tightly written episode. In this one extended upload, we get a lot of the answers that we were looking for last time. Who is Sophie? Why is she important? What she's supposed to remember? Check, and check. We know all those things now. But for everything that it explicitly answers, Bunny Farm still leaves one of our biggest questions open-ended. The biggest being, where's Jack? His frantic phone call to Felix the night of the crash asking about his children are, to date, the last time we actually see or hear from him. Sometime in the next month after those calls, he disappears, the robots start acting funny, the restaurant opens, Rosemary gets stuffed into Shaw, and things quickly close. But whether that's Jack getting stuffed into Bond, Jack stuffing himself into Bond, William Afton style, or him just literally disappearing out of grief and despair in a quest to find some way to bring his kids back, it's not clear. After all, someone caused the animatronics to go haywire before opening day of the restaurant. Could it have been Jack and his grief? Maybe. The evidence we have right now points to Jack being dead, or stuffed into the Bond suit like you might expect. In video 1, we get a brief glimpse of Jack's missing poster, which comes accompanied with a message of, "Let me out of here." And considering that Susan in Bunny Farm says that she's alive inside the Banny suit, stuffed people in this universe appear to be conscious inside of their animatronic prisons. For more proof of Jack's fate, though, look no further than the actual farm in Bunny Farm. You'll notice that even though the game in question is called Bunny Farm, the farm actually belongs to a character named Pete the Hippo. I guess Hippo Farm doesn't have the same ring to it. Anyway, during Sophie's playthrough, there's a lingered-on shot of a plaque describing the whole area as being founded by a hippo named Bobby with 2 children, Johnny and Pete. Bobby, who's now deceased, year unknown, had promised to build the greatest barn ever. Later, this plaque changes to instead reference the deaths of Ed and Molly Walton, which by proxy would mean that Bobby, our dead hippo, is then the stand-in for Jack Walton, our dead or stuffed protagonist. Connected to that, who or what is Bond the animatronic bunny? It's easy to assume that Bond and Jack are one and the same. If the bunny-shaped animatronic rabbit foot fits, wear it, you know? But I'm just not convinced. On one hand, the Springtrap connection of a mourning father losing his mind and trying to put together is hard to deny. On the other, though, I just don't see Jack, a loving father, actively luring his loving wife Rosemary to her death in the guise of Bond. Plus, we get a few additional visual clues as to what might really be going on here. Throughout Bunny Farm, we get the merging and separating of Ed and Molly as these 2 red child spirits. We, of course, see them preparing for their school dance on the front steps of their house, and we see both of their faces multiple times around Rocket Rabbit, making it crystal clear that they're inside of that beloved boy. But creative decisions, we also see them split out of Bond multiple times. During the night of the dance, we see the Bond player character wander around the school before passing behind a wall, and suddenly on the other side, we see Ed and Molly appear to hunt for their uncle. And during the final jump scares of Bunny Farm video, we see Bond glitching with overlays of 2 child spirits, one boy and one girl. So is Bond responding to the presence of these two lost children? Are they inside of him? His murderous intentions born out of their collective rage? Again, just like we see with Golden Freddy over in FNAF Land, was Rocket just a glorified vessel to carry him from one body to the next? It's really unclear right now. Lastly, though, I want to talk about the identity of Charles. Is he a Walton? Rankin? At this point, we have a clear idea of pretty much everyone else in the story. Jack, Rosemary, Sophie, Ed, and Molly are all one family. Felix was a friend and partner who ultimately separates from his wife, Linda. Susan Woodings was an animatronic designer who just seems to be an employee kind of hanging out. But everything about Charles outside of his name is still a big question mark, despite him being one of the main focuses of Bunny Farm. That said, I think I have an idea about his role in all this. And the solution doesn't come in the form of secret unlisted videos or backwards text. It comes instead in the form of Martin Walls' other non-canon animated specials. Mixed into the release of the Walton Files is a pair of animated holiday specials. The Christmas special called Boozoo's Ghosts and the Halloween special entitled The Mysterious Hour. Both feature alternate versions of our beloved mascot characters. Both also start off as seemingly normal old-time holiday specials before becoming the corrupted nightmare fuel that you associate with this series. To quickly summarize, Mysterious Ghosts is about a pair of trick-or-treaters who fall victim to a group of serial killers disguised as versions of Bond, Shaw, Billy, and a bizarre new character called TVA. Boozoo's Ghosts, meanwhile, is a surreal remix of a Christmas Carol that puts Boozoo, our ringmaster, in the role of the rich miser Ebenezer Scrooge, and features a death scene where the censored face looks very similar to the contortions on Charles that we see throughout Bunny Farm. Now, I'm not suggesting that Martin Walls is lying about these being non-canon videos or anything. What I am saying, though, is that they might be testing out ideas or inspired by things that are canon to the actual story. And if that's the case, Boozoo being both a ringmaster, i.e. the head of a circus performance, as well as the stand-in for Ebenezer Scrooge, literature's most famous money-grubbing boss, seems to be an it implies that Charles was, in some way, a higher-up, a boss, maybe even the man supervising it all. Consider this. As it's common with the series, there's one final hidden URL inside of Bunny Farm, with a piece at the top of the video and a second at the end. Following that link leads you to a video called Guilty, where we watch the tragic downfall of Felix, from an enthusiastic young boss with a dream to a substance abuser lamenting his actions. And it's in this video that we start to track the history of their company. Jack and Felix found Bunny Farm Incorporated back in 1960.
Are you ready? Tell me when you're ready.
They sell
if that's the case, I'm ready now.
Notice the logos and disclaimers on the title cards for all these videos.
Alright.
Felix even calls it out.
Just everything. The Cyberpunk Tech Wheel, the Bond Burger Project, it's incredible.
And this is a part of the franchise's lore that's really yet to be explored. The need for Jack and Felix to actively involve a third partner, possibly in the form of whoever actually ran Cyberpunk Technologies. A third partner who has monetary leverage to demand favors from one or both men to keep the business going in the direction that they want it. This, I suspect, is Charles, the mystery face that
I'm back.
Hence that character being as ringmaster of the world and as Scrooge in his animated special. It's my hope that we're going to learn that Charles is ultimately responsible for Felix's mental collapse. Anyway, with the new teaser out for installment 4, we may learn these answers sooner than later. But at the end of the day, what I love about the series is that it's a story about human characters in a world full of animatronics. Not a story about animatronic characters.
6 alive.
What makes the Walton Files such an intensely disturbing story is that it's family-driven. Sure, there's certainly terrifying sound design, but it's just set dressing for real people going through intensely horrific situations. Like,
I don't know if they're fearful for it.
Bunny robot? That's just the cherry.
Okay.
But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut.
Oh, yeah. Just question mark. 4 more slots left.
Alright, wait, I'm joining. Did you, where you put the link at?
I didn't send a link yet.
Yo, what's good? What's good?
Make a thing to where you could. I should make things where it's like
for people who want to be mods.
I make like a
something you have to fill out or like I don't know.
Oh, you like FNAF W. I like that you like FNAF W. Make sure, man, we about to get into the scary shit, bruh. I've been sitting here for hours, bruh. Waiting on Ishmael Copra, bruh.
Too goofy. Come on, clone. No.
Clone, if you leave, you're gay.
No, clone, if you leave, you're gay.
And he left. Oh, I was about to say sad day. Well, that's fine.
What's the finale game I should play then?
Well, guys, it's just us 5. If Coffee is playing. Yeah, Coffee.
Kofi, are you playing, bitch? Coffee! Come on, Kyler.
Did we all add each other?
No. Oh, it's on Roblox, huh?
Yep.
I'll just join you, Copa. Okay.
Copa.
Copa. It's Koopa.
Copa.
It's Koopa, nigga.
Oh, that's not what people pronounce it as Kalupa. Alright.
Khaleesi's nut.
I have all you guys added, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I was fucking Mia Copa in the Narc. He was making
Damn,
his
you gotta
money,
start
bro.
over. Damn.